All right, let's dive a little bit deeper into the NVIDIA earnings here. NVIDIA key Q4 numbers. NVIDIA reported fourth quarter revenue of $39.3 billion, which is up 12% quarter over quarter and 78% year over year. This is where those record-breaking quarter quotes are coming from. The revenue total beat a street consensus estimate of $38.05 billion. We gave that to you yesterday. The company's revenue total was a company record. Jensen, quote, demand for Blackwell is amazing as reasoning AI adds another scaling law. Increasing compute for training makes models smarter, and increasing compute for long thinking makes the answers smarter. So Jensen Huang here, clearly still very bullish and still doing his thing where he is, I don't want to say pumping because that's the wrong term, but clearly talking very, very high of his company. He's been doing that for a while. He goes on to say, quote, we've successfully ramped up the massive scale production of Blackwell AI supercomputers, achieving billions of dollars in sales in its first quarter. AI is advancing at light speed as agentic AI and physical AI set the stage for the next wave of AI to revolutionize the target industry. So again, talking about the ramp here, talking about the huge move, talking about all of the great stuff to come in the future here. And one of the other things that he discussed that I also thought was quite interesting was DeepSeek. We actually wondered about this ahead of the earnings print. We wondered about, data center AI spend. We wondered about CapEx spend, and we wondered about what they were going to say about DeepSeek. And we finally have our answer here. The TLDR, quote, DeepSeek was fantastic, end quote. So obviously Jensen here not really threatened and instead actually views it as a positive. Remember, this is the exact position or similar position that Sam Altman took when that first happened here. So what happened? Quote, the amount of computation necessary to do that reasoning process is 100 times more than what we used to do. End quote. That was Jensen to CNBC following the quarter there. Really good interview with him last night. Huang specifically mentioned DeepSeek's R1 OpenAI GPT-4 and xAI's Grok 3 as models utilizing reasoning process that requires substantially more computing power. This comes despite a 17% stock drop in January, triggered by concerns that DeepSeek had found a way to achieve better AI performance with lower infrastructure costs. Quote, DeepSeek was fantastic. It was fantastic because it's open sourced a reasoning model that's absolutely world class, end quote. So remember, Altman said that we were going to learn from all these different iterations of the LLMs and the different GPT tools that come out. Jensen seems to be reaffirming that here and does not see this as a headwind for NVIDIA, at least not at this time. Looking ahead, NVIDIA projects first quarter revenue of $43 billion, exceeding analyst expectations of $41.75 billion. Ramp is huge here. Huang emphasized strong demand for the company's new Blackwell AI supercomputers, which achieved, quote, billions of dollars in sales in its first quarter. Demand for Blackwell is amazing as reasoning AI adds another scaling law, increasing compute for training models. Smarter and increasing compute for long thinking makes the answers smarter. So wild stuff here. Amazing seemed to be the key word of this report. I think the last one, it was insane, right? He said demand for Blackwell was insane or something like that. So he's using a lot of these hyperbolic statements still, and still looking pretty good here, at least on his end. All right, another thing here, another story here for NVIDIA. Jensen Huang admits the first NVIDIA Blackwell chips faced hiccups, praises the team for an amazing recovery, and then says Blackwell Ultra is on track for a second half of 2025. So despite the initial delays with the Blackwell chip, this is something else that we were kind of waiting for the report. We had actually talked with Matt Maley about that earlier, kind of hypothesizing, boy, what would happen if they talked about another delay with the Blackwell chip? What would that mean? Well, we got our answer. That's not going to happen. And in fact, it's the opposite. Jensen here commending the team for despite the delay, they're still able to get on with things there. It remains, he goes to say, he has rest assured. So, excuse me, CEO Jensen Huang has reassured, it's early, investors that Blackwell Ultra remains on schedule for the second half of 2025. Investors definitely wanted to hear that. That's definitely a positive and stopped some of the big downside moves that we could have seen here. During NVIDIA's fourth quarter earnings call, JP Morgan analyst Harlan Sur asked Huang about the demand and rollout strategy for Blackwell Ultra, given that the company is still ramping up Blackwell chips. In response, Huang acknowledged that the first Blackwell chips faced a hiccup that probably cost us a couple of months, but said that NVIDIA has already fully recovered. Quote, the team did an amazing job recovering, end quote. So, all right. Here you go with the Blackwell. You know, one of the things that we were talking about yesterday with 13 was the launch of the gaming GPUs, the RTX 50 series. I did get a chance to do my homework last night and watch that video. And just as 13 said, I completely concur. Absolutely fantastic. Must watch video. I understand that NVIDIA is chasing AI now, and that's the big thing, but it's worth noting that they were built on the backs of gamers and these chips being the best in class. If that changes, what does that mean for the company? I know they're promoting AI. I know that's the big thing on the street, but this is a very real thing that NVIDIA has relied on. So we definitely don't want to see that come in at all or show any type of negative action there for NVIDIA. Next here, NVIDIA's Q4 revenue surges over 78%, nearly 8 times higher than 5 years ago. Pretty awesome stat here by the Kobisi letter that I'm going to show you. Analysts debate the stock's next move as Jensen Huang says Blackwell production has been ramped up. So I take this and I pose this to the group. What do you folks think for NVIDIA here? What is the next move? Producer, I don't know if you have polls set up here for today, but I think one of them might be, what's the next direction? Where do we get, let's call it the next 15 or 20 points on NVIDIA? The next substantial move, is it up, down, or do we just kind of poke around and trade sideways here? I'd like to hear from the group what you folks think about all of that. Getting back to the article here, the chipmakers' daily revenue reached $427 million throughout the fourth quarter, almost $500 million a quarter, with data center sales primarily from AI-focused GPUs surging 93% year over year to $35.6 billion, now accounting for over 90% of total revenue. As I said, they were chasing AI there. That just goes to show you. Here is, just to put it in context, the Kobisi letter, an excellent follow on Twitter. I recommend everyone do it. I follow it myself. NVIDIA's Q4 revenue by year. Look at this. Look, you want to talk about a ramp? You want to talk about a ramp? Look at this. In 2015, $1.4 billion in revenue. By 9 years later, 2024, that is $39.3 billion in revenue. Just an absolutely massive ramp. NVIDIA's Q4 2024 revenue of $39.3 billion is now 8 times higher than it was just 5 years ago in 2019. So NVIDIA's absolutely hitting it on the screws here. They continue to outperform. I know that we've kind of talked about maybe NVIDIA being the thing that kind of cracks and brings the rest of the market down. Well, so far we haven't seen anything like that, or we have not been given those signals. So we'll see where that ends up panning out here.